So, sorry about that. So this time around, for this stream, ignore all that. So this time around for this stream, something that I wanted to, I guess, talk about and come to, for lack of a better term, the realization of, is what the channel's name is. So B.A.G is an acronym, short for Believers and Gamers. And originally, I had wanted to create this channel where I could talk about God in freedom, you know. So to paint a picture, the last time that I was actually on a YouTube channel, I had done it for X amount of years, and then when I finally had come out as a Christian, that didn't necessarily pan out too well. People, well, not the fact that I was a Christian. Okay, let me walk that all back. I'm skipping a lot of context here when I say that. It was the fact that I saw the times that we were in, actually decided to crack open the Bible and see what it said inside, and came to Matthew 24. And I felt an urgency to, warn the people of essentially what was happening in Matthew 24. Whether I did a good job about it, that is, how do you say, at this point, that's not, I could give my own personal opinions about how well I translated my thoughts, but the long story short was, it wasn't great, a bit of a fallout there, and I had wanted to create this channel as, just a means of, if I want to talk about God, I'm just going to talk about God. If I want to talk about a game, I'll talk about a game. It's purely what is in my heart at that particular point in time. However, for a good portion of this channel, it's been a little bit of figuring it out, mostly because, well, I guess not to beat around the bush, the fear of man, the fear of what other people will think, things of that nature, and so on and so forth. In fact, the first video I have done, you know what, forget it. The point is that, is to flip the script and actually start, living up to what the channel name is supposed to be about, Believers and Gamers. So with that being said, recently I was, going through my thoughts, and a bunch of different ideas came to my mind. And the unfortunate thing is that in those ideas came a lot of fear, for lack of a better term, in that, how will people receive this? How will this audience receive it when it's meant for that audience, and blah, blah, blah. And just a bunch of stuff that, quite frankly, I don't even have to worry about, given the current position of this channel, but that won't be this way for a long period of time. It's changing around very shortly. And so, I was thinking in my mind, should I go through with this? Should I stop? Should I this? Should I that? And eventually I came to the Bible verse, or rather it appeared in my head, all things work together for the good of those who love him, who are called according to their purpose. And that was like the message that everything clicked into place, because it was in a sense just what's the word I'm looking for? A bit of direction as to what it is that I'm supposed to be doing, right? And what I'm supposed to be doing is following the ideas I have, and how do you say? Oh, snap. Okay, I wasn't paying attention. Grains of the desert, and next gathered in the wind, and finally desert rose. How's that? Holy smoke! That was right. Oh, I haven't. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. It felt right. I don't know how else to describe that. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, basically, that this whole thing that I'm in, I shouldn't be afraid of coming out with my ideas, because even if somehow it's wrong, it will all work together in the end. So I shouldn't be running away from the things that I, well, am called to do or have an idea of doing or want to do. I should just do them. And like, that sounds very simple, right? But, you know, down here on Earth, we as people have, you know, just some kind of, I don't even know what to call it, just something is here that, for something so simple like, yeah, just try an idea. You lose nothing from trying. Somehow people will talk themselves out of it, and what ended up being a great idea ends up being something that is put on the shelf. And that's where you get people, you know, saying that, man, I thought of that idea. I had that idea, and, you know, they had this idea however many years back. And I'm of the belief that it's because God placed that idea in them, and it would have been a success with them, but they didn't believe in it, so they shelved it, and blah, blah, and blah, blah, and blah. And to be quite frank, after posting that first video, I meant when I said that I wanted to do all that came to my mind. So this is just me being more open and honest about, you know, this YouTube channel and the stuff that I'm going to put out on here. I'm not entirely sure as of yet of how everything is going to go down, but I know in my heart that God is going to be at the very core of it all. And so that's, you know, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. So, with that being said, honestly, that was like more or less the core of what I wanted to talk about, was just coming out here and being honest and just saying that, hey, if you got an idea, just do it. You know what I mean? If it's a good idea. Because, you know, some people like to take stuff out of context and just go to extremes that people haven't thought about. And just wanted to make it clear that if you have a good idea, then do it. You know? What is the worst that could happen from it? Actually nothing. Well, the worst that could happen is someone dies, but that is highly unlikely of happening, and at least I believe so, if the idea is non-violent in the first place. But regardless. Actually, now that I think about it, I could even talk about this channel. In fact, the fact that I'm doing Naruto live streams in the first place was an idea that God had given me. Personally, I didn't want to do in the first place. You know, live streams are not necessarily, I've thought about it a lot. I used to think about live streaming a lot. And then when God came to me and said, hey, why don't you stream Ultimate Ninja Storm 4? I said, I had to remember what happened in the book of Exodus, because, you know, it wasn't nice when the Israelites were complaining, and I'll leave it at that. But this was not my own personal idea of doing and or spending any of my time. But nevertheless, I think that, you know, listening to God, I gained so much out of this that I didn't even think I could gain out of this. And the fact that I am talking right now without stammering is amazing in and of itself. So I mentioned this before, but I tried to do this in a different way, in a different channel, without the live streaming aspect, because that's what I was more comfortable with. And it wasn't the same. I stammered over every word. I had to think about topics so far in advance, and it just did not coagulate. You know, and nothing worked out. No, that's it. Nothing just worked out. But this, in this channel, like the fact that I can now converse comfortably about a topic that I haven't even thought about. Like right now, the topic that I'm saying about me and the whole channel, I barely thought about it. Like aside from the scripture I just gave you earlier, it's barely hit my mind. And yet beforehand, let's see now, how many of these live streams have I done? I've lost count. There are how many chapters in Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 2? I want to say 12. What chapter am I on? Whatever. In the little time that I spent live streaming these games, I have immediately been able to pick out so much from them. Like it is quite wild how my speech has changed in such a short amount of time, and even there's more to come from this, right? This is just the beginning of it all. I truly, I've just scratched the surface of what all of this channel is meant to be, and scratch the surface of what I'm truly supposed to be doing out there in the world. But nevertheless, just from the little bit alone, I'm grateful for it. Again, because when it came to, and here's the thing, here's the important context of it all, is that I had, back in the day, ran a Let's Play channel where I did, in fact, play Ultimate Ninja Storm 2. And I was very bad at speaking, right? Like, I ran that channel for, let's say, 10 years, and just coming up with thoughts off the cuff that I can just talk about for whoever knows how much time, without stuttering for many of my sentences, was a dream. And here it is now. And it sounds so simple, right? Like, wow, oh man, you can now talk without stuttering. My goodness. But understand that, you know, what comes easier to one person is difficult to another. Some people excel at talking. They can talk your ear off, but I'm not that kind of guy. You know, I'm very reserved in my speech normally, and most of the time, unless I really have something to say, I just won't say anything. And so being able to actually talk, shoot the breeze about whatever topic is amazing to me, and I'm grateful for it. You know, that whole bit right there might have sounded a bit repetitive, but good, you know, because I want God to know that I am grateful for this. Just coming on here every day and every night. Well, okay, that's not true. I'm not coming on here every day and every night. I'm coming on here every day, every Wednesday night, and just, you know, doing this in faith. It's born, at least it's born fruit that I can see, and I'm grateful for it. Gratitude in and of itself is like a bit of a superpower that people don't really appreciate, is something I realize. Something I realize in myself too, at least recently. And it's hard. It's pretty hard to always say, like, yeah, we need to be grateful for everything, because something goes awry. People had a bad day, this one, that one, and then it's difficult to look at that thing that, you know, how do I describe this? How do I currently describe this channel? It's difficult to describe that thing that I didn't necessarily want to do as good for me, I guess, in a sense. But now looking back on it, I wouldn't have even gotten this far if I didn't decide to be faithful to it. And of course, in the gratitude came the ability to just speak and not worry so much about what other people might think of it. So I'm beginning to realize I have made a calculated error in my thing. It was actually raining a little bit ago, and I had expected it to bring the temperature down in this room, but it is actually still hot. So give me a second. I'm gonna wheel back and turn on my fan.
すみません、深作様。
ああ、それしかし、さすがは地雷。
今日のところはこれで解散にしましょう。
ではそれまでわしはあっちに戻る。
はい。お前たちも解散だ。はい。
So this would also be another part of Naruto that I'm not necessarily well aware of. Again, I mentioned in the last stream that I had skipped out on a lot of beats due to the fact that you know, I went to the library every 2 or so weeks, and so I just had to choose the books that, you know, looked the best to me. And it's been a long time since I've thought about Jiraiya's death. It's always, I don't know. I don't even know the words. It's always interesting to see your protagonist go through a different range of emotions that he doesn't normally go through. But I can't say that I particularly enjoy seeing Naruto so downtrodden. I also don't like the fact that this is such a slow jaunt. Oh, thank God, a cutscene. Oh, thank God, it wasn't a cutscene, but you know, we skipped ahead because, whew, for as many times as I've played Storm 2, this is not something that I have burned into my memory. This one section here, because normally when I play Storm 2, it's the boss fights, because if you didn't know, at the end of the game you can just rematch every boss whenever you felt like. So I don't necessarily have to go through the whole campaign of running around the Leaf Village, which, I mean, as cool as these pre-rendered backgrounds are for Ultimate Ninja Storm 2, it's not exactly the most grabbing thing in the world for me, at least when comparing it to Rise of a Ninja, Broken Bond, even Storm 1 for that matter. Although, you know, now that I get the chance to stop talking so much and actually look at the backgrounds, I can really appreciate how CC2 has made Konoha pop in this particular art style. Like, even though it's not particularly fun to explore, like, for lack of a better term, explore in Ultimate Ninja Storm 2, it is a beauty to just get a good look-see at these backgrounds and see Naruto interpreted in a different way. This is also like, hang on. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna watch the cutscene and I'll say my piece later.
だこれからだっての。少しずつ。なんだ、いきなり笑いよって。い
や、そうじゃなくて修行。
嬉しい。
修行ってばすげえきついけど、でも少しずつサスケに近づいてるって思うと、もっともっと強くなって絶対に。
常に明るく、そして前向きなし。お前を見てるとこの忍びの世もいつか明るい光が差すように。
突然な。
残念なことだが、今のこの
憎しみ
争いが生み出す産物、何、オロチマルやサスケも家族を失い、憎しみに囚われた被害者と。
You know, I don't think I ever like came across the fact that Orochimaru lost his parents to war. Huh. And even with that being said, that doesn't necessarily color his actions any particular way, because I guess actually that might be also the reason why he's looking to be immortal when you think about it. Because he saw his parents die, and then he said, okay, I don't want that to happen ever again. But then, you know, went insane somewhere down the line.
その憎しみをどうしたいとは思っとるんだが、実際にはどうしたらよいのかわしにはまだわからん。だがいつかは人が本当の意味で理解し合える時代が来ると。
なんか難しいってばよ。
答えが見つからんかった時はその答えをお前に託すとしよう。
おっす、エロ仙人の頼みなら仕方ねえってばよ。
Hard cut to every time Naruto refused the Perfect Sage's orders.
なんで笑うんだよ。
お前の笑顔には救う。お前を弟子にしてよかったわい。
あれなんで俺エロ仙人。
ナルト、
イルカ先生。
ジライア様のことを。
俺のことをずっと見てて欲しかった。俺がほかげになるとこ、エロ仙人にはかっこ悪いとこばっかしか見せられなくて。
ジライア様はお前のことをいつ自分の孫のようだといつも鼻高だ。
エロ仙人は
お前が自分の意志を継ぐ存在だと信じてた。いずれ立派な子が。だから。
でもエロ仙人はもういいね。孫みたいに思ってくれてても他のエロ仙人はいね
いるさ。お前の中に、お前の心の中にいる。
俺の中に。
確かにジライア様はお前の前からは消えた。でも
意志。
長い間ジライア様と共に歩いて、お前は何、それこそ数えきれないほどの思いを。意志は生きている。ジライア様の意志はお前の中。目をつむってみろ。お前の中。
And some of this animation is a real trip back memory lane, down memory lane.
わしは信じ、たとえお前が同じような目にあったとしても、しっかりと前を向き、その瞳は曇ることなく信じた。わしはいつでもお前を信じておるからな。
お前の中のジライア様はここでうじうじ落ち込んでろって言ってる。
言ってね、信じてるって。しっかり前向いて進んでいくことを信じてるって。信じた道を突き進むことをいつでも俺のこと信じてるって言ってくれた。そうか、俺が落ち込んでたら俺らしくねえ、おかげになれるって言ってくれたのに落ち込んでばかりいたらすげえ辛いし悔しいけど、立ち止まるのはもうやめだ。うじうじして俺は俺らしくエロ仙人からもらったものを引き継いでエロ仙人の弟子として最後まで。
それでこそ俺の知ってる渦巻き頑張れよ。
ありがとう。さあ、仕切り直しだ。
I think that when it comes to games, specifically anime adaptation of games, or I guess in this case Ultimate Ninja Storm 2, it's very interesting to see how they handle certain moments as opposed to the anime and to the manga. So I've thought about this a lot before, particularly later on in the series with Sasuke versus Danzo, because the pacing of that fight is incredibly different depending on which medium you experience it in. If you experience it via the manga, that fight... Okay, no. I shouldn't say the whole fight, but aspects of that fight are extremely quick. Particularly like the moment where Sasuke tells Kari not to move, right? In the manga, that can go by like that because you are flipping pages. And so it also kind of highlights the speed of Sasuke's Chidori spear because it is sudden. You don't see it coming, but that doesn't work if you are in an anime or traditional animation. So what they ended up doing was they added a sound effect in addition to the Sasuke's bugged out face and held on it for a lot longer period of time. Because personally what I notice is that as a manga reader, you wouldn't necessarily, how do I say, you wouldn't necessarily hold on to that page for more than a couple of seconds, because once you looked at the entire page spread, which by the way, if you don't know, Sasuke's bugged out face literally covers 2 pages of that manga it appears in, and then, you know, once you've seen it, just flip to the other page and then bam, stab Karin and Danzo. And in the game, okay, actually I can't tell you about the game. It probably just mirrors the anime or as close to it as possible. But I feel that these differences are all interesting to inspect case by case. Because sometimes something is sometimes a moment from the manga is better. I should just pause this because I am actually losing a lot of context here. But a lot of aspects from the manga are oftentimes enhanced by the anime. Sometimes I feel that the anime kind of misses it and misses the speed of which, you know, those things come in. Like I really wanted. Actually, I have the manga behind me. I could dig it out. Volume 47 of Naruto. So I was hoping to easily just find this page here. And it's when Naruto uses the Rasengans as smoke grenades and takes out 2 of the pains, and then he tries to hit Devapath before his almighty push comes back online. Right? In my memories, that fight, that moment is extremely fast, and it's supposed to be extremely fast because Naruto is just, going in as fast as possible and trying to hit Pain down. But there's something about when he uses the almighty push that is supposed to like slow the reader down, like stop. And I think, if I remember correctly, like him using the almighty push, like that panel is extra long in comparison to the like skinnier, shorter panels that are there. So like it's supposed to be like, in a sense, Pain saying, "Slow it down, Naruto. This fight's not over just yet." And in the anime, and in because I remember I saw this for the first time a little whiles back, and I was so disappointed. Because again, in my memories, that portion of the fight happened so quick, but in the manga, oh shoot, oh his name's on screen, Fukasaku, he went in to explain what Naruto was doing, while it was very clear what Naruto was doing in the anime. Now, 100% that could just be straight adaptation, but the fact that I can read faster than, the characters can speak, because they have to get the correct inflections, maybe there's a pause in it, this, that, and the other. It doesn't hold the same kind of speed that the manga does. And that was something that I watched and was so utterly disappointed in. I didn't even bother with the rest of the Pain fight because, like when you start off like that, it becomes kind of difficult to connect with the rest of it, at least in my opinion. And that is honestly something that Naruto as an anime has been doing since the beginning, when you think about it. Because as far back as Zabuza, like if you read Zabuza versus Haku, no, it's Zabuza versus Haku. If you read Naruto and Kakashi versus Zabuza and Haku, sorry, I got tongue twisted there. It reads a lot faster than the anime plays out. I actually went back to see that fight a little while ago once I heard somebody like explain that no, the anime takes so much longer to get through it, and no joke, it really does. And that's because Naruto as an anime is a product of its time, truth be told, of needing to pan out filler episodes and elongate sections of the anime so that it doesn't accidentally catch up to the manga, and now we just don't have anything to go off of. And there's pros and excuse me, there's pros and cons to how Naruto handled, or rather the animation team handled Naruto, because on the one side, you got a lot of things that a lot of filler episodes, because Naruto is one of the most popular anime that ever existed. It's well over 1,000 episodes at this point. Going on to Boruto, probably double that number, maybe. Boruto's been going on since like 2014, 2015, right? So at that point, it's more than double. But how do you say? From those filler episodes did come some good things, where you get to see like unique team compositions and characters that normally never interacted with each other just interacting. Like Naruto and Shino don't ever talk in Naruto. Like Naruto is the main character, but I don't think there is a single solitary sentence in canon material that Naruto had. No, I'm wrong. I'm so wrong. I totally forgot that one time Naruto didn't recognize Shino as Shino. But nevertheless, that is like, okay, that's one time, right? When has it ever happened after the fact? It probably happened one time that I forgot. But, like, you get my point, right? That these two characters rarely, if ever, share the same space on screen. So, with that in mind, the fillers added a lot to Naruto that the canon material just didn't either have the time to go over or didn't care to go over. And it's kind of interesting, I guess, existing I wouldn't say actually existing in this current age of anime because I don't watch a lot of anime anymore. The most recent anime I watched was My Hero and Haikyuu. And yeah. What the heck? Alright, I'm just gonna ignore that. Anyways, those are the most two recent anime that I've seen. And in this era of canon only material, it's interesting because on the one hand we get a lot better animation, less filler, less drawn out scenes because of that. But at the same time we lose those like pieces of filler episode that were helped tie together the rest of the world of whatever show we were in. So it's a interesting give and take. But with that being said, I wish, like I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I wish we could have like both. Like I wish we could have the filler episodes that help further colorize the worlds of whatever show we have, and simultaneously just have primary canon material with no added fluff to it. Because again, the Zabuza and Haku don't last a long time in Naruto. In fact, I think the whole arc is resolved in like 2 books, assuming it doesn't start at book 2. I don't own book 2 of Naruto, by the way. I also don't own book 3. So, you know, in case you were wondering. But, like, it's very fast. It resolves very quickly. And I assume if we were to get, like, a true anime adaptation with, like, no fluff, no filler, it would probably be somewhere around maybe 4 or 5 episodes. If I'm being generous. No, not generous. I think that's a reasonable take for everything that happens in the Zabuza and Haku arc earlier in Naruto. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe I'm underestimating, because even though I say they, you know, two volumes is a lot of content, because on average is like how much in a volume of Naruto? 10 chapters, give or take. But anyways, I'm not like, if I were more on the vein of the manga for something like My Hero or Haikyuu, I could give a more accurate like guesstimate of this number, but I'm not. So yeah, I used to be for My Hero, but then I fell off hard. Oh, right. Sorry, I forgot my original point. Was that you know, some things are changed from the manga, and so it's always like interesting to me to see like what is the differentiation from all these things. Like, did it work with what the original source material was trying to create, or did it do something entirely different and in a sense create something better, or did it fumble the package? You know, that, and that's what I was thinking of when I was seeing Naruto mourn Dry as Death. It was interesting to me because it made me think back to Naruto and Gaara way back earlier in Shippuden, and initially I hadn't gotten the chance to actually read the manga of what happened when Naruto found Gaara dead on the floor, and the wide array of emotion showed on Naruto's face was something that astounded me, and it was like, whoa, I missed this. I never realized how much care was put into this scene right here, in showing like how much Naruto cared. I mean, it was like pretty evident in the dialogue alone how much Naruto cared. But like I said before, I didn't read all the manga, nor did I experience everything Naruto had to offer due to the fact of me just not only picking out the volumes that I thought were the most interesting. So going back to this and seeing Naruto's portrayal in those things was like a real shocker to me because I don't know, like Storm 2 was my introduction into a lot of things that I missed. Let's just get that out of the way. And from me saying that, I will also say Storm 2 is not a great way to experience Naruto. You miss a lot. There's a lot of context, a lot of subtleties and whatnot in Naruto, whether it be from a visuals telling perspective or like straight up dialogue is not there in the game because it is doing its best to tell the entirety of Naruto in a brief sense that covers as much of the story as possible. And so because of that, a lot of things are just missing. And I can tell, sorry, I didn't mean to yell there. I can tell from a lot of my manga readings, from what I have read of Naruto, that there are significant pieces just chunked out of here, just to make things go by that much smoother. And, you know, it is what it is. It's an adaptation of Naruto. If, you know, they can add in, embellish aspects to boss fights that never happen, then sure, cutting out dialogue here and there is just what it is. You can't necessarily help that. Where was I going with this? All right, but it is just interesting to see the differentiation, and you know what was how other people interpret it or don't interpret those things. I just realized for the first time in my life that the Akatsuki cloud is so on such a lower resolution than the rest of the jacket. You don't notice it, like right there. What is that? The Predapath of Pain? Oh, what is it? Like, it's been a long time since I knew the Predapath. That's Animal. Deva. Oh shoot. Whatever. I used to know. I used to know. I used to have all the knowledge, but I don't anymore. Anyways, the one on the left, you don't notice it as much because he's so far back. But Devapath in the middle, Yahiko. You know, so that everyone knows. But like straight down the middle, looking at the Akatsuki cloud, dude, it's such a lower texture than everything else. But that's the beauty. That's the beauty of playing old games and seeing all the stuff you couldn't see when you were a kid, right? Like you can't notice all the cut corners because everything is so new and fresh and things of that nature. But when you grow older, you can see it. You can see some of it, anyways. Although with that being said, I will admit that a lot of things are much more clearer to see in the. Oh shoot! Anyways, a lot of things are more clear to see in the Legacy Collection because, well, things about this game just didn't exist like it was on the PS3 and 360. Like, there's a line in, if you look at the training field, you've probably seen it already, but there is a line on the floor that is just there. I guess to say, like, when you leave the training area, you can just see a line on the floor, a black line, and that wasn't there on the 360 or PS3 version, but something broke in porting this to PS4, so here we are.
仙人
自然エネルギーは体ですじゃがまだ慣れて
自然エネルギーの扱いを完全に
それでは今日の
I guess how long have I been doing this? Roughly an hour. That's new for me. Or I guess not new. So let's see. If memory serves, there are 3 training exercises with Fukasaku. Fukasaku? Whatever. There are 3 training exercises with Pa, and after that is going to come the destruction of the Hidden Leaf, and I don't think I'm going to get a save point with that. So I think I'm going to call it here. The last thing I want to talk about is I'm a little disappointed with how Sage Mode was handled in Naruto. It was a really cool concept of nature energy. Again, didn't really fully understand the ins and outs of it. Storm 2 is my best understanding of nature energy. But with that being said, I just thought it looked really cool in terms of concept, and then, get that out of the way, we got the Nine Tails now, which, in a sense, we all saw it coming, right? Ever since we saw Naruto donning the Nine Tails chakra cloak, it's like, yeah, at some point, it's gonna happen. And it did happen, and it overrided Sage Mode entirely. Now, with an asterisk, I'm going to say to my understanding, because I see in Storm 4 that Naruto's got the Sage Mode eyes, and again, I don't understand the context of it, because these Storm games are not the best way to experience Naruto. And I mean, if you just want to get the absolute Cliff Notes version, sure, go ahead. You just don't care about the lore, don't care about the world building. You lose a lot of world building, especially come come Storm 2, because a lot of the issues that Sasuke goes with are something that is built up over time. Oh dude, I wanted to talk about this so bad during a Naruto live stream, but I never had the outlet to talk about it with, Sasuke and the Uchiha. And I remember for the first time in my life reading the manga, it was volume 24, 25. It's the one where Itachi and Sasuke are on either end of the cover and Naruto is in the middle. And I was thinking to myself, why on earth are the Uchiha surrounded by trees and grass if they're supposed to be in the Hidden Leaf Village? Because all the depiction of the Hidden Leaf Village in Naruto is for lack of a better term, a metropolitan. It's a happening place. There's not many trees there. So it always struck me as weird why the Uchiha were always surrounded in trees. Every time you saw Sasuke and Itachi, it was outside in this grassy area. You never saw the Hidden Leaf Village gates. So it's this is clearly somewhere else. And then you get the context that the second Hokage just segregated the entire Uchiha village, and it builds on each other. It's a question that is formed in your mind that over time gets answered, and that is you don't get that in Storm 2. And that's really disappointing, but it's also understandable given the nature that it is a video game. It does not have the privilege of trust that a long-running manga series has, where it can show you something strange and not explain it for 10 chapters. No, not even 10 chapters. Man, I wish it was just 10 chapters. It got explained 20 plus volumes later, if not greater than that. No, it was later than that, actually, because 20 plus would be where we're at right now with the Pain arc and learning about Sage Jutsu and all that stuff. Anyways, that was a tangent. That was something I wanted to say for a long time. So with that being said, hey, appreciate you guys for stopping by. And so yeah, with that being said, I will see you all next time. Until then.